5 weeks ago, the TCR International Series was at Buriram in Thailand for rounds 15 and 16. The races were won by Norbert Mikelic and Aurelien Panis, but as far as the Drivers' Championship is concerned, the results from Buriram mean that it's now effectively down to a four-way fight. From Thailand to China and a brand new circuit in Zhejiang, around 3 hours from Shanghai. After missing Buriram with broken ribs, Roberto Colciago, one of the four men in that battle for the driver's title, makes a welcome return to the series in China.
I really couldn't make any lap because I have really a pain, so I hope this race for me will be much better. The track is new for everybody, but you know, race is race. Nobody knows what is in the end.
The track looks really great. After it's really a small track, really tricky with a lot of second gear corner, a lot of up and down. It suits our car pretty well, so we'll see how it goes.
It's very little. It's not really suitable for us, for the Audi. It's not easy. It's corner after corner. You have no pause. It's not so easy for the physique. You have already the mind. You have no stop driving, no stop turning the steering wheel. It's really a strange track.
It's really tight, so I think the qualifying will be the key here, especially for me because I'm carrying 30 kilos more than usual because of the success bonus, so it's gonna be a really hard weekend for us.
With just 2 race weekends remaining, Attila Taschi currently leads Jean-Carl Venet by just 2 points. Stefano Comini, the double TCR International Series champion, is third, and Roberto Colciago is fourth, 34 points behind his teammate Taschi.
So I think this will be my hardest race in my career, so I can't say anything else. I will try my best and do what I can.
We will play for the second race, like the last part of the season.
To arrive at the last race, still with the opportunity to win the championship. I will try my best, I hope.
I'm just focused on myself, on my team, with Rob working well, setting up the car, and that's all. After, if we have a bit of luck, we're gonna take it for sure.
As well as a new circuit, the weekend also sees the debut of a brand new car, the Hyundai i30N TCR. Hyundai becoming the 11th brand to develop a TCR car. The two i30s are in the hands of two of the world's most experienced touring car drivers, Gabriele Tarquini and Alain Menu.
It's a pleasure for me to be back. To be honest, I was just minding my own business at home, gardening, and then I got the call from Hyundai to join the program. So I jumped at the opportunity. It was a real surprise, but now I'm very happy to be here and be with them. I mean, the car is good. The whole team is doing a great job, and you know, I'm working. Finally, I would say I'm working with Gabriele Tarquini rather than against him. So it's nice.
It's a pleasure to be back. I mean, I miss the races atmosphere in the beginning of this season because I never stop in my long career. So it's a pleasure to be back. We start in March, and now it's the time to show what we have done.
Qualifying is always crucial, but at the twisty Zhejiang track, where overtaking is widely regarded as tricky to say the least, a good grid position is even more important. All 21 cars entered for the event were due to take part in Q1, and the 4 championship contenders were among the first out onto the track. Attila Taschi's Mira Racing Honda carries the maximum 30 kilos of success ballast, but that didn't stop the Hungarian teenager from going through to Q2 with ease. It was a similar story for Jean-Carl Venet in the Leopard Racing Volkswagen, who went quickest after around 5 minutes of the 20-minute session. There were, though, some anxious faces around Gabriele Tarquini's Hyundai after the Italian missed most of the second free practice with a broken oil pipe. The i30 would soon get going, unlike the Opel Astra of Matto Homola, which needed an engine change, and so Homola missed out on qualifying altogether. Stefano Comini had complained that the circuit didn't suit the Audi, and he was partially right. He struggled in Q1 and eventually failed to go through to Q2, unlike his teammate Frederick Vervisch, who did make it through. There were, though, some long faces in the come-to-you garage. Pepe Oriola's title challenge could well be over after this event, and so the Spaniard was determined to battle for some decent points. To his and the team's relief, all 3 of the Lukoil Craft Bamboo cars went through to Q2. Neither of the new Hyundais could go through because the cars are entered under a temporary homologation. That didn't stop Alain Menu from setting the fastest time, with Tarquini in the now fixed number 30 car going second fastest with around 8 minutes remaining. Roberto Colciago, like Tassi and Venet, went through to Q2. In the Italian's case, he did so with ease, going 7th fastest. That meant, of the top 4 in the Drivers' Championship, only Comini failed to make it through, and the reigning champion's disappointment was clear to see. Q2 was then the usual frantic 10-minute session that would decide the grids for both races, and the 12 cars that made it through from Q1 were quickly through the tunnel out onto the track. The circuit clearly suits the VW and the Seat cars, and Pepe Oriola sensed his chance. Sure enough, Oriola was the best of the Seat drivers, ending the session in 3rd place, and so will start race 1 from the 2nd row of the grid. Halfway through the session, Venet was clearly on a charge. His first pole position of the season beckoned, and the gold lozenges confirmed his pace in both the first 2 sectors. Sure enough, he grabbed provisional pole position, but there were still just under 5 minutes to go. It wasn't just the Leopard team's Volkswagens that seemed at home in Zhejiang. Gianni Morbidelli's West Coast Racing Golf GTI was equally comfortable, and the Italian qualified 4th, so would start race 1 alongside Oriola. But pole position was only decided right at the end of the session. Moments after the checkered flag fell, Rob Huff stormed across the line to record the fastest time, and so snatch pole position away from his teammate Venet. A 1-2 for Leopard then, with 3 of the top 4 times set by Volkswagen cars. Thanks to the reverse top 10 grid, Frederik Vervisch will start race 2 from pole, but race 1 will be about Huff doing all he can to help Venet. So the 1-2 is the perfect way for the British driver to do just that.
I think we deserved it. It's the first time Leopard WRT have got pole this year, and I think it's thoroughly well deserved. We've topped the sessions all weekend, and testament to the boys, the team, everyone involved in Leopard WRT racing. It's been a great weekend, so let's just keep going this way.
Zhejiang in China is the venue for rounds 17 and 18 of the 2017 TCR International Series. This brand new circuit, 3.2 kilometers in length, and it's an impressive twisty little track that's caught out quite a few people so far this weekend, not just in the TCR International Series but in the support categories as well. Very different, almost 2 halves of the circuit. You see there the very twisty elevation changes of the first half, and then the much flatter, much more open second half of the track, which brings the cars down into the start-finish straight. Confirmation then that it's Leopard Racing 1 and 2 on the grid. Rob Huff from Jean-Carl Venet, and what can Huff do to help his teammate in this first race? Pepe Oriola and Gianni Morbidelli row 2. Dan Lloyd, Roberto Colciago row 3. Attila Tasci, alongside Tasci on the grid is James Nash. Row 5, David Kajaya, Frederik Vervisch. Denis Dupont and Aurélien Panis. Then it's the 2 Hyundais that we've been talking about for much of this weekend. Alain Menu just pipping Gabriele Tarquini to be quickest in Q1. The cars not able to go through to Q2 because of their their provisional homologation. They're not scoring points, remember, this weekend. Moments away then from the start. We're waiting for the lights to go on. All on. A delay, oh, that was tantalising. Lights go off. A good start from Huff, a better start from Pepe Oriola. And through goes Jean-Carl Venet. There's contact immediately. Denis Dupont into the wall. And through goes Pepe Oriola, making the best start of all. It's exactly what he wanted. Oriola leads as a big slide from Attila Tasci coming through turn 2. Tasci rejoins, unscathed, just ahead of the Hyundais. Oriola ahead of Venet, ahead of Morbidelli. Then it's Vervisch, I think, who's up into 4th. And it's number 30, Gabriele Tarquini, side by side, I think, with James Nash, that was. So to complete the first of this 19-lap race, Pepe Oriola comes around turn 16. Indeed, already Gabriele Tarquini has passed both Dan Lloyd and James Nash. So then at the end of lap 1, Pepe Oriola from Jean-Carl Venet, Gianni Morbidelli 3rd, 4th is Frederik Vervisch, 5th is Rob Huff, 6th is already Gabriele Tarquini, Nash 7th, Lloyd 8th, Colciago 9th, and David Kajaya in the Alfa Romeo rounds off the top 10, and that was Denis Dupont off. And Huff and Vervisch battling for 4th place. Huff all over the back of the Audi, and already the Hyundai i30N TCR of Gabriele Tarquini is battling with Huff. Alongside goes Gabriele. Vervish blocks. And through goes Tarquini, having picked his line beautifully past Huff. He now passes the Audi. That's Dan Lloyd's car, the number 17. Seat of Lukoil Craft Bamboo in the pits receiving attention. Tarquini goes up alongside Morbidelli, takes third place. Brilliant move, yet another really well-timed move from Tarquini. Powering past Morbidelli. Look at this start from Oriola, beautifully timed. Manages to carve his way through the two. That's the moment that Denis Dupont was fired into the wall. Once again, Tarquini dives to the left, powers alongside Jean Calvinet. Squirreling under braking, Tarquini moves up from third to second. Another beautifully timed move from the veteran Italian. And Venet very sensibly making room for Tarquini to come through. And this is a nudge from the 81 Audi. That's the Triple Z of Zhang Zhendong, one of the two locally run Triple Z Audis. And you can see the frustration, the lights flashing on both the Hyundai and the Volkswagen. Oriola having none of it. Tarquini, this is the move, this is the moment. Tarquini dives up the inside of Pepe Oriola. The lead changes hands going into turn one, and that's the moment we were waiting for. Gabriele Tarquini makes the move. He now leads the TCR International Series race on the car's debut. That's the order towards the bottom end of the top 10. James Nash 7th, Colchago 8th. David Kajaya 9th and Aurelien Panis 10th. As Jean Calvinet goes up the inside of Pepe Oriola, the two-touch, and Oriola goes onto the grass. A nudge from Jean Calvinet. Will that attract the attention of the stewards? And indeed, Rob Huff goes through as well. Gianni Morbidelli now attacking Pepe Oriola. It's all happening at the start of this lap. The two-touch. Oriola goes sideways again. And that was bump, nudge, bump, thump, I think, as there, I think, is the end of Matteo Homola's race with a front puncture. As Dusan Borkovic, he'd been in the pits earlier, went back out, and has come back in. Panis now definitely closing. The gap between Panis and Nash, 6/10 officially. It looks an awful lot closer than that. So will we see a change in the bottom half of the top 10? Down to turn 16 for the final time. Watch for the lights flashing as Gabriele Tarquini comes through turn 16 for the final time to take the checkered flag. He weaves from side to side. There is the checkered flag. Jean Calvinet is the man who flashes his lights. Venet takes maximum driver's points by finishing second. Rob Huff third, Gianni Morbidelli fourth. You have to say that Hyundai is a bit of a weapon to win on its TCR International Series debut. And without that drive-through penalty, who knows what Alain Menu could have done in the second car. A lot of senior people from Hyundai who've made the journey to Zhejiang to see Gabriele Tarquini take the victory by 1.6 seconds from Jean Calvinet. Rob Huff finishes third with Morbidelli, Oriola, Vervish, Colchago, Kajaya, Nash and Panis rounding off the top 10. You have to say, Tarquini picked his moments, picked his overtaking spots beautifully during that race. And Gabriele Tarquini, 55 years of age, makes his return to touring cars after not that long away. And look at the smile. That means everything to those guys.
Gabriele Tarquini, what a magnificent race and what a nice win must be.
It's a dream come true. I mean, I never dreamed to be first after starting 14th. Probably it's my best race ever, but the secret was the start. I mean, I take a really good start, but I was also lucky because Alain touched another car in front of me. He make a little bit of mess, and I was 6th after the first lap. So, and after the first lap, I think that I was start thinking that I can win the race. I pushed very hard until I catch Oriola in front of me, but he had a really good pace.
Also my temperature will get a little bit too high, so I try to slow down a little bit just to cool down, because we had problem with the oil temperature yesterday, and in the end it was fantastic. I mean, and also thanks to other guys that they know that I'm transparent. They never fight me. They let me pass sometimes, and this is really a good goal.
An incident-packed first race here at Zhejiang. The controversy continues between the races. After race 1, I commented that potentially we might see that same performance from Hyundai in race 2, but in an extremely unusual move, there's been a balance of performance revision between the two races. The Hyundai has been given 40 kilos of ballast and a 5% reduction in power. So the starting grid for race 2, we have Frederik Vervisch on pole alongside David Kajaya. The winner of race 1, Gabriele Tarquini, there he is, starts from 13th on the grid. Alain Menu just one row ahead on 12th, but the power and the weight situation will make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for the Hyundais to carve their way through the field the way that Tarquini did in race 1. Two non-starters to tell you about. Denis Dupont, there you see, in theory starting from the back of the grid, but the damage in race 1 too bad for him to make the start. And also Dan Lloyd, we're hearing, will not take the start of race 2 in the Seat. There's damage to an oil pipe of some sort, we understand, incurred in race 1, and so Dan Lloyd's car will not take the start of race 2. We're waiting for that marshal to wave that green flag. The race starter will press the button which will turn the red lights on. When they go off, we are racing. They go on and they go off, we are away. Vervisch moves to block James Nash. What happened to Kajaya? Indeed, he's lost out. I was expecting him to make a better start. Tashi's up alongside, has the line for the right-hander at turn 2. Already up is the number 30 Hyundai. There is Tarquini. There is Menu already behind him, so he's taken the position. And Nash alongside Vervisch, with Kajaya just behind. 3 abreast they are. They go through turn 6 into the left, the right-hander, excuse me, at turn 7. Kajaya has the line alongside Nash. Nash, though, has the line for the left-hander. There is Vervisch, a slight contact with David Kajaya, with Jean-Carl Vernet getting muscled off the track. Vernet runs wide as Tashi is up alongside Morbidelli. And Morbidelli noses ahead, so Morbidelli has the line. So the position changes hands. There is Oriola in the 74 car, makes a slight mistake, opens the door. Just a fraction too much for Roberto Colciago to go through. So it's Nash from Kajaya, from Vervisch, from Morbidelli, Tashi, Colciago. Then it's Rob Huff. Then it's the two Hyundais with Tarquini ahead of Menu. And that's our top 10. Little squirreling under braking from the Audi of Vervisch. And the two Hondas, the two mirror cars alongside each other. Tashi forced to run wide by Colciago. Colciago then takes the position, moves up to 5th. Tashi dropping to 8th, just ahead of Tarquini. Alain Menu, meanwhile, capitalizes. There is Menu in the 33 car, just behind Huff. So Colciago, Huff, then Menu, then Tarquini. And then Tashi dropping still further. Tashi now scrapping with Oriola. So Morbidelli is up alongside Vervisch. I think there's a nudge there. Huff definitely makes contact with David Kajaya. Kajaya gets sideways, loses out as the Hyundais and Colciago muscle their way past, and David Kajaya on the escape road. The car squirreling from side to side. Something I suspect is broken. There's a nudge again. That was Huff on Morbidelli. And the Italian won't be over-impressed with that. This is the contact as Huff muscles his way past Morbidelli. As Huff has the line for the right-hander. Huff then alongside Frederik Vervisch. The battle for second place. The pair side by side. Huff muscles his way through and squeezes out Vervisch onto the gravel. A sideways move from Huff. More contact, this time from Vervisch on Huff. Up comes Morbidelli. Vervisch loses out. Morbidelli alongside Huff. The pair virtually side by side. No contact this time, I don't think, as Huff keeps the position. Oh, contact between Oriola and Colchago. And that also allows Tarquini to go through. So Tarquini now tucked in behind Pepe Oriola. Surely only a matter of time before Venet makes his move. There he goes. Venet at the inside into turn 1, takes the position. Jean-Carl Venet passes Roberto Colchago for 8th place. So more useful points coming the Frenchman's way. And there goes Tarquini, picks his moment, dives up the inside of Frederic Verviche. And so Gabriele Tarquini, with Verviche now blocking Alain Menu, Tarquini moves into 4th. We're on lap 13 of 19. Oriola too just takes a little look. Verviche has the line for the left-hander at turn 1. Still Menu behind, still Oriola behind Menu, still Venet behind Oriola, with Colchago in close attendance, and Aurelien Panis just tucked in behind Zhendong in 10th. Now that's where Tarquini made his move on the previous lap. This time, no indeed, I was going to say, this time Frederic Verviche holds the position, but he runs wide again, allowing a Hyundai to dive up the inside. It was Tarquini last time, it was Menu this time, and so both Hyundais power past the Audi, and it looks like there's something loose. Possibly the floor is loose on Roberto Colchago's car. You see the vibration there, something flapping at just underneath the front splitter of Roberto Colchago's Honda as Verviche runs wide. And is that the end of proceedings for the Come To You Audi? And Venet having some body damage, I suspect, on the rear right. The tyre rubbing on the bodywork, and in the past we've seen disaster come from a situation like that. What on earth happened to that lead? Having gone down from 10 seconds at one point, has Nash been too hard on his tyres, or was there an incident that we just didn't see? And allowing Rob Huff to come back at him. Has Huff got the line? I believe he has. Yes, he does. Rob Huff takes the lead of the 18th round of the TCR International Series. Huff moves into the lead, taking the position away from James Nash. Gianni Morbidelli also takes a look as they go round turn 6. Into the elevated section then, through 7. Certainly with one car in the pits as Morbidelli goes up the inside of Nash. Morbidelli takes the position. As I was looking at my timing screen to see what was happening with Venet, Morbidelli takes 2nd place away from James Nash coming through turn 16. Across the line then to start the penultimate lap of this race. There is Rob Huff, there is Jean-Carl Venet. And is Venet now in the position to defend his teammate? As Alain Menu, that goes past James Nash. Menu then up into 3rd position. So the Hyundai on course. Sorry, that was the move on Oriola. Excuse me. Huff puts his lights on. He comes down through turn 16 for the final time. There's the checkered flag. Huff takes the victory at what will be his final TCR International appearance of the year. That won't be the situation for Jean-Carl Venet. And taking the victory as reward for his efforts in the TCR International Series ahead of Gianni Morbidelli and James Nash, with Menu, Oriola, Tarquini, Zhang, Colchago, Tashi and Galliana rounding off the top 10 positions. His maiden victory in the 2017 TCR International Series. He was, of course, victorious at Macau at the end of the maiden series in 2015. And indeed, I said we'd check on the drivers' points. Jean-Carl Venet now 21 ahead of Attila Tashi. Stefano Camini and Colchago 42 and 46 points behind Venet, respectively. 55 points up for grabs, remember, at the final round. That rounds off proceedings from Zhejiang in China. Thanks to you for your company. Thanks to the guys here in China for looking after us so well. From us all in China, a very goodbye.